guys, Sean. Just Al, just can you throw a clap for us? Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Al. All right, great. First off, thanks for having us out to your place, Al. The studio is really cool, man. Always a pleasure, man. So yeah, we were just we were curious, man, and we wanted to know who were the 5 people that inspired you the most coming up as far as like your art was concerned.
Well, I don't know about 5 people per se, but I mean there's more than 5 though, because it's not always a person. It could be an art movement or a art movement or a school of you know, a way of doing things. I guess in terms of graffiti, when I first started writing, I was introduced to graffiti from the Washington Heights, the Writers Corner guys, and I mean I was young, I was like I guess 12, and these guys, you know, they were kind of, I looked up to them. I thought they were cool, you know, I thought they had a cool style. So it was like people like Snake One, Stitch, Spanky 132, Cat 87, Papa 184, all those guys from Washington Heights, the WC 188 writers. And so it wasn't really one person, you know. It was like
that crew. It was
that whole crew. The way they had a style that I didn't see in the Lower East Side where I grew up. And I thought these guys, you know, they had a special swag, and it was something to aspire to it and admire. So that was initially what attracted me to this, you know, cool secret society of graffiti, of, you know, writing your name on the wall. But in terms of art, you know, I mean, because it's a little bit different. It's an artist and I mean, as a kid, I liked Dadaism, you know. I mean, from a young age, which is kind of peculiar, but I really liked Dadaism and the whole the strangeness of it, the iconoclastic kind of. And I really don't know what. I guess it was because it was something really different from looking at especially to a young mind, looking at like a painting of a still life, or, you know, a landscape. Something like it was off and challenging, and then you know, that interest brings, you know, will lead you into things like Cubism and Surrealism and abstract expressionism, abstract expressionism, all that stuff that was, you know, different. And even though it wasn't new when I was coming, I was in the '60s. I mean, but there was during the abstract expressionist period of the '60s, but there was a certain romance to all that stuff, and it just was attractive to a young mind, and it was inspiring. It really was. And then later on, I guess, in you know, this, when I'm a teenager, or not, I wasn't a teenager anymore, but at a pretty 19, 20, I worked for June Paik, and I became aware of that world, the Fluxus people, and it was, you know, a new taste of it was yet another challenging, intellectually challenging thing. And I thought it was, you know, I thought that was cool that there was this strange, like, you know, school of artists that did stuff that was completely, you know, it was like a whole different level of thinking and being and stuff like that. Like, you know, what June Paik was doing with video and televisions and stuff like that, which was a real spin, you know, on a different take on a new aesthetic. He was just prior to that. He's like considered, June Paik. He's actually in the Whitney. The Whitney has a permanent installation there. He's considered the granddaddy of video art. And it was something that, you know, it didn't even occur to me that you know, filmmaking can be. I mean, it was an art as well, but could be taken to like a sculptural level,
visual,
you know,
level,
like a visual, on that. And he did that and introduced me.
So like the static TVs and shit, right, and people sculpting with trash.
I built that pyramid like 2 or 3 times. You know, I mean, I didn't design it, but we put it together. I did his installation at the Whitney for his retrospective. And it was a big, that was a big thing for a young guy like my, I was 20 maybe, or 19 or 20 when I did that. So it was very inspirational. And it's not that I wanted to do that, but it was inspirational of that you can do stuff that is not conventional painting, conventional, music, conventional. It's that you can spin off and do, be really creative.
Whatever you want.
Go in some crazy ass direction that hasn't been done before, and that's what was inspiring about working with him.
That's cool. So you got, what would you say?
Well, yeah, I mean, but early on, I'm saying when I was WC 188 guys, Writers Corner 188 guys, which a lot of those guys were the United Graffiti Artists, the UGA. In the beginning, but later on, I mean, still to this day, I have, I get a lot of inspiration from the new school of guys like Chris RWK or the guys that came in the '80s like Crash and hold on one second, give me a second, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to check this.
Take your time, Al.
Yeah. Right, like Chris RWK and Sac 6. People that are doing street art now, but have come from a graffiti background. Crash, people that have been able to take their art and become make it a career, with a gallery and etc. etc. That's inspiring. That's very inspiring to see guys who came from our culture doing stuff, and taking it to the next level.
Pretty big.
So that's always inspiring. It should be inspiring to not just myself,
everybody.
To everybody.
Yeah.
And then there's people that do text. Like first off, like Barbara Kruger, who when you're doing this kind of stuff, sometimes you question yourself, and then you see other people who have been successful doing text, and it kind of gives it kind of settles you. It's like, yes, I'm doing something that's an accepted art form,
Of course.
And that's it's reassuring in a sense. So people like that are inspiring, and and then of course there's people like Tom Sachs or Red Grooms who do these installations that are handmade, stuff that's handmade, and I do stuff that's handmade. So that to me is also inspiring.
Awesome, Al.
And Zimad, because I love Zimad's work too.
Yeah,
he's doing
Renaissance man,
and he's a very good artist. He's a very good technician in what he does. He's a wonderful person, and he's diverse. He's doing a lot of different things.
We were just talking about.
Yeah, that's the coolest shit.
But Zimad is also inspirational in that sense, and his quality. That's another thing is to aspire to is. Zimad's the level of his technique. I mean the quality of his work.
Yeah, his ability.
The actual physical quality is very beautiful.
Yeah, and he's clean and he's just everything. All his shit is
nicely rendered. So that's inspirational. That's something to aspire to.
I agree, man. He's one of my favorites.
Talking about that, about Zimad being a Renaissance man.
Yeah,
in that same category.
Big time.